Uspokój.
Hello, hello, and welcome back to TSRL to start off a brand new season, round one. It is China. I'm joined here with Lewis and JMO. Hello.
Relayer. I'll be relaying team radio. That's what I'll be doing.
Yeah, so that will be great. And tell me, are you excited for today's race?
I am, yeah. First round of the season. We can definitely see. We can definitely see what could happen.
Yeah, and what are your predictions for today's podium?
I don't really have that many predictions, so I'm going to go with the totally non-biased opinion. Seriously, it is so non-biased, you won't believe it, that Yuri will win.
Oh yeah, and where do you think Mare will come today?
I think Mayor we will finish his race in the barrier at turn 5.
That is pretty optimistic. But yeah, I'm looking forward to today's race. Start of a brand new season, so it will be interesting who can take the lead today. And who can take the lead. Considering this is the first race, it will give you a great start to the season. And considering Rico's not here, it opens up more opportunities for everyone today. Yeah, so we are now starting off with qualifying.
I think Lewis picked the. I think Lewis forgot to press the spectate button. Can't wait for him to find out when he comes back. But anyway, now I have no way to figure out who and what is happening because I'm not in the lobby. Here he is. Hopefully.
You said the exact same.
Who's my question, though?
Okay. Why the fuck am I driving a McLaren?
Because you press button. Pause the game. Pause the game. Go into the pause menu.
Yeah, I know what I'm doing, JMO. I'm just looking around on track. Calm down. Breathe some air. Use some oxygen. Take in some H2O.
Honestly, it sounds like you're making this way bigger of an issue than it actually is.
Yeah.
Would someone like to drop me an invite? Thank you.
Why are you saying this on
no.
live commentary box? Learn his lesson.
Oh god, I can't focus right now. I've got too much going on. Yeah, all hell is broken loose now. Yeah, the only two people in the pits are Lucas and Mara now. Zefchi's gonna set the fastest time. Leclerc is about to finish his lap and get P3. At the moment, it's looking to stay. It looks to me like it's going to stay the same, but it is. It's all up for grabs here. Anyone could go faster than Atom. It's now a 1-2 for Mercedes.
Mayor has responded kindly to Lewis's fuck up by saying, "What the fuck is Lewis doing in my car?" I have no words. That's a joke! A joke! A yoke! Guess I'll
That
take my
was a
second
complete accident. I don't know. I left the room to go talk. And then I came back and me in a McLaren.
For people who don't know how this game works, what happened was he forgot to press a single button.
I was out of the room. I pressed the button before I left the room.
You must have pressed it accidentally twice then.
Alright, cool. As Woods is going to set the fastest lap of 1:30.8.
Yeah, of course, Ward's being such a good qualifier, it was bound to happen, but now it will be interesting to see what Atom can do when he goes onto the soft tyre. Proving he's already pretty quick, but he has 4 tenths to Ward's.
3 times actually.
No, it's almost 4.
God. May I say thanks to Knox for approving of my prediction of where Mare will finish. Which, Lewis, you didn't hear me say it, but what I said, I got asked where will Mare finish, and I responded with in the barrier at turn 5.
Why is that so true?
Also, Marcus has just said he's just so noob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Marcus right now is in 13th in the Aston Martin. No, that's not him. Who
Yeah,
is
I'm
it?
looking. I'm not on the broadcast, by the way.
I know, but it's like I'm looking at the timing board.
Yes, but who would you like to look at? There's about Lucas is on track along with Mara is driving for McLaren. That was a bug. Ignore the timing tower. It speaks lies.
It's not a bug. It's not a bug. Everyone saw it with their own eyes.
Yeah, so now Mare is just started his lap, I believe. It's going to be interesting to
He
see
is
what he
lagging.
can do. Not very sure what he will be able to do, but you know, it's always interesting to see what I'm not going to say that, but it will be interesting to see, as I believe who was it? I'm not actually sure, but now Lucas
Oh, he
starts
locks
his lap.
it.
You didn't lose, though. You went wide.
We are now on board with Lucas, the only person currently on his lap. This is a new person, I believe. I have not seen him before in my time here. Is he a new addition?
He is most likely a mover-upper from Tier 2.
Yeah, so it will be interesting to see what he can do in his first race, as he sets a purple bit in his first sector. So that is pretty nice for him. We might see something on the top of the board from him, as Ward's still holding down that provisional pole, as I believe I just saw some rain. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh no, it's happening again.
It is looking quite cloudy, and I believe I saw droplets, so that might keep the order the same as it is if the track now evolutes into a wet track. And so there are now only a few people on their lap. Ward's going in to get that, and yeah, that is correct. I do see puddles. I believe I just saw puddles on the straight. So it might turn into wet conditions soon, which means, of course, people who have set a awfully slow lap, or who have not managed to set, you know, a fast lap for themselves, will unfortunately have to stay at the bottom of the order unless they can get something in now while the track is still dry.
Rest in pepperonis to Alfie.
Yeah, so Lucas's lap sets him on to P12. Ian Morris now also on his lap, but unfortunately he is on the medium tire. As
Adam is gonna go faster
by 300ths of a second. So now with all purple sectors, so that may be quite difficult for Woods to beat. He has to get everything perfect, especially with this track. If it does end up getting wet, I'm not seeing any more droplets now, but with these conditions, how cloudy it is possible.
Yeah, it is completely completely possible here. Sorry about that.
BMH
As
sets an even faster lap by 8,000ths of a second. So the front of the grid, the fastest three drivers, are now only separated by 400ths of a second. That just shows the consistency.
That is crazy.
Yeah, that shows the consistency. Yeah, go on.
Does show the consistency, like you were going to say. But might I add that the gap between first and second is wild in of itself. 7,000ths of a second between BMH and Adam.
Yeah, 8,000ths. That is quite insane. It shows the way these drivers are grouped. They are incredibly similar, and they are in the correct grouping. So Atom, also a new driver, who I believe maybe an addition from Tier 2 or a new driver, but with that kind of lap time, yeah, he's gonna do very well this season, I expect. The consistency, and you know, him starting on those mediums and having that lap faster than everyone else for quite a bit shows how well off as a driver he is. As Ward's is now 1/10 up down up on his own time. So if he keeps going like this, he will set a lap good enough for pole, as he sets a purple second sector. He's currently doing very well in his lap, Ward's being a very good driver for qualifying, of course, his lap times being some of the best we see on this grid. So it will be interesting as he goes into the final corner.
I think I heard some lockings on the rear.
Yeah, that would be a shame if he lost all that, considering how well off he was. As he now sets provisional pole position by more than 0.2 of a second. So that is definitely going to be very hard to beat. Put in, you know, a larger break between P1 and P2. That was inevitable, of course. With
He's
only
still
800s.
cooking.
Yeah, that is true, and I don't think the other drivers are going to be able to match that.
Yeah. Unless some sort of miracle can pull through for them right now, it might be entirely close to impossible.
Yeah, Alfie, I believe, is on a fast lap. He is currently P8 with a 1:31.4, so missing about 0.8 of a second to the pack leader. But as he's about to go into the final few sections, we will see whether he can set a fast lap time, as his sectors are currently looking alright.
But we're not gonna. But the
Yeah, and he
sectors aren't what's
doesn't.
important. It's what happens on. The times are not what's important in all respects. He's
As
in the
he
pits.
aborts his lap,
and
yeah.
he,
BP in
Yeah,
the
not only
room,
did he-
likewise.
I apologize. I think we both just tried to speak at the same time, didn't go in. But not only did he abort his lap, though he kind of had a bit of a moment while aborting his lap. He did what Hamilton did back in 2007.
Almost went into the pit wall, yeah.
Oh, the bit that's close on Hamilton.
Now the only driver on the grid to have... Oh, is BP in the room sets a lap time good enough for P6. Almost 0.5 up on his time. So that is a pretty big improvement. But we see only 4 drivers dip into the 130s. So that is pretty impressive from them. Of course, one of those drivers being a new addition, which in itself is impressive. As we see, Ward's still leading the pack, and it doesn't look like anyone's going to join him. As the AlphaTauri of Alface, also a new addition, I believe, have not seen him before. He is now on his lap. And quite a few more drivers going onto that outlap, including Atom. He will be looking for that pole position. That will be his final run, but with more than a 0.2 gap to Wards, will he be able to beat that? BMH likewise. Seeing that Atom is only 8 thousandths behind him, he will want to extend the gap, or even try for pole position, as Wards also wants to extend his lead, knowing that there is time to find, as we see now all drivers on the lap, or on their outlap, other than Vettel, who still has not set a lap time.
Yes.
May I mention something run to my mind? So we were talking about how Adam on his first lap out, I think it was Adam anyway, he got his first flyer onto pole for quite some time on the medium tyres. And I would just like to say that definitely does show that he is a good driver, since Lewis tried to do that once. You remember, don't you? Don't you remember?
Let's see.
You don't want to speak. You don't want to say.
Let's see how Leclerc is doing. He is 1/10 up on his time. He is a good qualifier as well, I believe, currently in P12 with a 1:31.7, which is quite slow. It's over 1 second faster gap to the front, which isn't the best, of course, if you're racing in Tier 1. But, you know, China is a difficult track, and everyone has mixed opinions on it, so you never know, as Leclerc is now 1/10 down on his time, so unfortunately that will be his lap gone unless he can find a lot of time in the final sector. Other drivers on an outlap, we have just seen Bounty Hunt set a P7 lap time almost 4/10 quicker than his previous time, so we are seeing improvements with the track evolution. Haven't seen Rain yet, and now BP in the room, I believe, aborted his lap. He is still in P6. Wards has just started his lap. He will want to extend his lead, and BMH is still on his outlap. He will be looking for that pole position. So I would like to know why Vettel hasn't came out.
And there we go. The checkered flag is now out on track.
Yeah, that is true. Now, if you want to get into a higher position, if you have a slow lap time, it's now or never. You could start near the back. As Ward's lap is looking quite good, and we're about to see him finish his sector 2. He is 600ths up on his lap. So, he will probably set a faster lap time if he can keep it consistent in this final sector. Just extending his lead as he has a snap, and I believe that is his lap gone. So BMH will be looking for that. He is 1/10 down. As Atom, he sets a 1:35 for provisional pole. That will be unfortunate for Wards, whose lap I believe is done. BMH retires from the session, but Marcel, he sets a P3 time. Came out of nowhere. Don't believe we spoke about him earlier, with a 1:37. So now Alfie, Deku, and Mare will be the last drivers to go across the line. Let's go on board with Alfie. Actually, as he retires from the session, so he can't get a faster lap time. Deku also on a bad lap, so I believe that is the grid finished. Yep, as Mare goes. To be fair, that was perfect timing to change that. Fucking.
That was perfect.
Alright, so that is our order finished. I don't believe we have any more drivers on a lap. No, we do not. So Deku's just coming into the pits, and that is our qualifying session over. With Atom, a new addition, taking pole position today with a 30.5. Wards, the best qualifier we've seen so far, with a 30.6, about 500 slower. Marcel in P3 came out of nowhere with a 1:37, which is 1.5 slower than Wards. BMH in P4 can improve on his previous lap time, and Yuri in P5. And that is the 1:30s, and the rest of the drivers fell a bit behind. We see Super starting in P6, BP in the room, P7, Inmer is P8, Stenek, also a new addition, in P9, so a good performance from him, and Bounty Hunt, I believe, who is also a new addition, in P10, with all the other drivers behind. So that will be interesting to see. So, based off of this qualifying, what are your predictions, Lewis?
My predictions for this qualifying... You mean this race?
Yeah, this race, based off of this qualifying.
My predictions are that it's going to be good. It's going to be cooking. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be the greatest Grand Prix that's ever happened in TSRL history.
And how about the finishers? Who do you think will take the win this race? Do you believe that a new addition, such as Atom, with his fast lap time, will be able to take the win today?
Yeah, he's been pretty strong today, as we've seen. So it is a most likely in that scenario.
Yeah, that is true, unless Wards from behind can fight him. So,
yeah,
we are starting.
We are still waiting. There we go. I need to get out of this. Oh,
you can't retire until lights out.
That sucks, man.
Yes. Anyway, my prediction is that the The race will have its safety car on that one when Mare will shunt it into the wall at turn 5.
Well, that will, of course, be interesting to see. And as I just realised, Atom is a reserve driver, so we see a reserve at the front of the grid. He definitely will be looking for a permanent seat now.
What do you think the current race strategies are, JMO?
Obviously, the game is currently giving us two strategies to all of them. A mediums to soft combo and a hard to mediums combo. The hard to mediums combo is actually having him hit a little bit earlier, which I don't get by the game. Personally, considering the hard is the more durable tyre, I would probably make it so the tyre would go longer than what they're proposing for the mediums. Although the mediums to soft thing does look like it would help in a way. For people who pick the alternate strategy, they'll be pitting on lap. Good job.
Yeah,
Good
sorry.
So they'll be pitting on lap 15, whereas people who will be pitting from mediums to softs will be pitting on lap 16. And as for fuel, I'm not in the position to talk about that.
Yeah. Since you could underfuel, you could overfuel. Depends on if you're planning for a safety car or anything else. Anyways, it's time to get racing in Shanghai. As we go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's lights out and away we go for the Grand Prix.
Atom manages to keep the front. The two Aston Martins side by side, BMH coming out in front. As at the back of the grid we see Leclerc go to P10. BMH up into P3. Vettel, I believe he was probably AFK, parked in a dangerous location. We hopefully won't see a safety car for that, and we see a virtual safety car. So we have Mare out already. What a surprise.
Did he snag it at turn 5?
At least I'm not in last place.
Alright, so that was caused by Vettel, who was AFK. Mare saying he had nowhere to go. Atom had a good start, managed to stay in the front. It is Ward behind him in P2, managed to keep his position. Didn't fight Atom though. BMH from P4 or 5, I believe, came into P3 after fighting with Marcel and Yuri. Supra still in P6, and the rest of the grid looks pretty similar to the start.
I was two corners off in action.
So this virtual safety car, we're definitely not going to see anyone come into the pits, of course. It'll just basically be a 1 lap later start. They're going to have to make sure their tyres are up to temperature, and Ward's definitely will be looking for that P1 because he knows he can do it. BMH coming up quite a few positions, actually. How many was that? So as we actually see a restart, BMH only having came up 1 position. So Atom is still in front, and we are not seeing many fights now, but of course we have just seen the restart. So Lewis, what are your thoughts on the start already on Shanghai?
It was a pretty good start here in Shanghai. Most people were getting off the line perfectly. Some just were AFK and not at their keyboards or your wheels or your controllers or however you like to control the game. A flight stick joystick? Sure, whatever.
Yeah, that is true. As we see Atom and Wards fighting quite closely. Wards almost came out in front of him, but Atom successfully held the switch back in. What was that?
I saw Wards glitch off track, but then immediately snap back on.
Yeah, Wards does have some internet issues occasionally, but it is looking alright this time. Wards obviously being very close to Atom. He will want that P1, and Atom, his main focus will be to break the DRS, the 1 second gap before it starts. But Ward's clearly running a much faster setup, plus much faster straight line speed setup, plus the slipstream, as he comes ahead of Atom in the straight line. BMH side by side with him, but it looks like Atom is now side by side with Wards, who will come out in front there, and it will be Atom. But obviously on the straight line, Wards is quite quick. As we see the fast lap go to quite a lot of different people. As
It's
Atom,
still go. Oh, he backs out. No, he doesn't. What am I talking about? Sorry about that.
as DRS is now
Oh my
enabled, Wards gets ghosted and glitches a bit. Literally inside of Atom right now. Yori actually. Atom has come down to P4. That will be very unfortunate. Was that caused by contact? Does he have damage? We don't know. But that is interesting.
No, he does not look to have damage at the minute.
But as BMH goes into P2 overtaking Wards, will he be able to keep that? As Atom, in all fairness to him, he is on the hard tyre, I believe. So he will be going long. And as long as he can get that strategy perfected later, then he could continue winning the race. Maybe after Wards' tyres die down, maybe he will be able to overtake him and make his strategy work. As Wards is still slightly glitchy, but it's better than what we saw in Qatar, for example, last season.
Yeah, and people trying to keep consistent gaps is very good right now.
As now, Wards is trying to go round the outside of the two cars.
That was
BMH
free
coming
wide
out
into
in
the chicane.
front.
The chicane? Oh my god, I just heard 2 inaccuracies within both of you.
Well, BMH has came out in front.
Manatee, you said round the outside when he was clearly going down the inside. And Lewis, you said 3 wide going into the chicane when it's a hairpin.
Yeah, my bad.
Right, yeah, sorry, free into the hairpin.
Outside and inside, it's simple to get mixed up. It's what it looked like from the perspective. So BMH is now in front. He has made up so many positions on that medium tyre as well. I believe most people being on the same strategy as him. And yeah, that is true. We only see 3 hard runners, and everyone else is on the medium tyre. So
He does have damage according to the game.
BMH.
Yeah.
That is interesting. Wards will be chasing him down. Still in P2. Has not gained or lost any positions through these 4 laps already. We see the 2 Mercedes behind Atom on the hard tyre. So obviously quite a bit slower. Yori has came up quite a few positions. He is now in a podium position. So it will be interesting to see what Atom can do on that alternate strategy as we now go onto the straight, and this will be a matter of setup and DRS, but I don't think Wards will be able to get ahead here. Or maybe he will.
Maybe.
BMH defends the inside. He goes round the outside, brakes as late as he can. Oh, and he gets contact, was that, I believe, or he locked up. He was awfully close there, but BMH manages to defend that position, going very strongly to the inside, compromising his line. But now on the straight, Wards has quite a bit more straight line speed. He does end up coming out ahead with that DRS as well. But BMH knows he can do it, especially being a fast driver and with DRS. As we go to further back, Super and Leclerc fighting, being side by side through that hairpin.
Yeah, Ferraris and fighting people is a pretty common theme today.
Yeah, Super ends up in the front, as there are quite a few lockups there. So it's looking like some people are running quite a bit of a faster straight line speed setup, which obviously will compromise them in the corners. But of course, there are extremely long straights here, so that can always be beneficial. And if you believe you can make up for the low downforce in the corners, then go right for it.
Lewis, earlier you just gave me a video idea when you were talking about the race start. I just got a video idea. Playing F1 23 with a flight stick controller.
Oh my god!
I I know someone's made it. Someone has to have made it.
If someone hasn't made it, I'm going to.
Alright then, buy a flight stick controller and go on your channel and make it.
Oh, that would be ridiculous. Just to see me driving with a flight stick.
Yeah.
And I win F123 breaking point while driving with a flight stick controller.
I probably would do it in F124 though, because you know, this game is now dying. It's bleeding its last hopes.
As Supra and
what are
Leclerc
you-
almost have a little bit of contact, Supra being extremely close to Leclerc's rear left wheel. They were awfully close there, and they have been battling for quite a bit, so they are the two drivers who are getting side by side the most, as BP in the room is currently fighting with Bounty Hunt, as Bounty Hunt comes around the inside and manages to come out in front, knocking BP in the room down to 8th place. Believe that's only a place down from his qualifying. As the front still looks the same, we have Wards in P1, BMH in P2, and Yuri in P3. So if they are this consistent, it is not looking like it will change if Wards can defend against the DRS behind him, because it is not looking like he will break the gap. As Supra finally gets quite a big gap to Leclerc, bigger than previously, because they were constantly side by side before, as Atom makes the move into P3, P2 now, side by side with the Aston Martin. He goes around the outside, but he cannot make it. As we see that wheels lock, and he goes off the track with BMH. So that leaves Yuri in P2 after Atom's and BMH's fight. As Atom just goes off the track there into the grass, a bit of a corner cut. BMH is now down into P3, and Atom did not achieve anything from that other than knocking BMH down a space. Bounty Hunt and Leclerc now fighting. Leclerc going down, but he tries to go around the outside, and he breaks super late, has a bit of contact with the Red Bull, gets ghosted. So as we see BMH come into P2, it's looking pretty interesting, as Yuri is now in P1. What happened towards there? Did any of you catch that?
I don't think we did. We were kind of focusing on the back fights for a minute. As Leclerc is getting pretty close to the Red Bull, he wants to push ahead of him, but is he going to do so? Is he going to push past? He isn't. He keeps going for it and then backing out at the last second. Oh! He loses a bit of the car there. Loses the gap to BP, but then regains it immediately. I'm sorry. You go back to commentating.
Yeah, as Atom and Wards are fighting, Atom getting a bit closer with the compounds. He manages to come out in front ahead of Wards, but Wards just has that straight line speed setup that we saw in the first few laps. Atom going into P3, Supra trying to go around the outside of Wards, and he manages it, but with Wards' straight line speed, will he be able to keep that? No, he won't. Wards manages to come out in front. So now we see BMH in P1, but he is being fought by Yuri, and unfortunately with that DRS he does not manage to hold him back. Atom, of course, being in those few incidents, it is almost 2 seconds behind. Yuri and BMH side by side, and Yuri ends up coming out in front. Of course, difficult for him to defend. Atom quite a bit far back in P3, of course, having broken the DRS to P2 now. He will just be fighting with Wards, as we see quite a lot of drivers being side by side now. Yuri managing to hold that P1 though. So we've seen quite a change. We see Atom in P3, so he's managed to hold it. Wards, of course, having moved a bit further back. As at the back, we also see Demizzi go into P12. He definitely will be chasing down some points today. Quite a good driver, and shame to see him at the back. But of course, China's a difficult track and requires a unique skill set. As Atom, that gap between the hards and the mediums is clearly closing down, as he is pushing into the DRS range of BMH, who is actually now trying to get the overtake on Yuri with the slipstream, goes around the outside of him and just easily gets past him. So now as he goes into the final turn, he is ahead, but will he be able to hold that now? Or will it just be P1 and P2 switching positions every few
5
corners?
seconds. Every 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's true. As Bounty Hunt goes into P7 in the Haas. BP in the room clearly not having a great race. He is out of VRS. He's flashing. So that will be unfortunate. He's used all of that on fighting, so now his car will lose quite a bit of power. And he won't have as much ERS to defend, as we don't see anyone else flashing like that. Ooh, as Yin Mariz also comes ahead of him now after what just happened there. BP in the room down to P9. And if Alfie manages to come up to him, will he manage to keep points? That's Stenok who spun, he's off the track into P14. That's what caused the caution. Quite unfortunate. Was that caused by a mistake of his own or by another driver? We do not know. But as we see now at the front, BMH has managed to hold his position currently. Supra is pretty close to Ward's, and Ward's definitely not happy with how his race is going. He was looking to be a strong contender for the race win, but it's not exactly looking like that right now. As Yuri, of course, in the DRS manages to get ahead of BMH. Not a significant pace difference in between the drivers, so it's difficult to get a clear winner for the fight. Leclerc going around the outside of Bounty Hunt, but now Bounty Hunt has the inside, and Leclerc just has to back off as Bounty Hunt in the Haas goes off the track. BMH overtaking Yuri again. It does look like the Aston Martin is quite a bit better at keeping his position. Because we see Yuri overtake him in the DRS, of course, but it looks like BMH is quite a bit faster in the downforce corners. Demizzi now, with his tyres being on 8 laps coming into the pits, he might have had damage after what happened with Stenok. I believe they had a bit of contact.
Yeah, he lost his front wing.
Yeah, so they definitely had a bit of contact. He's now going on the hard tyre, definitely looking to finish the race on that. Looking to make up as many positions as possible, at least get points in the opening race of the season.
Yeah, because if you don't capitalise on the opening season, it may cost your entire championship.
Yeah, that is true, because title deciders are usually only by a few points anyway.
Sorry, I heard from Lewis. If you don't have a good...
as Leclerc has a spin, he goes off the track down into P11. It was looking like a great race for him. He was making up positions. It's Alfie right as Leclerc is passing. BMH now getting overtaken by Yuri and Atom. They are now side by side. But what did we see there? Alfie and Leclerc both going off. That is pretty incredible, as we saw a pretty synchronized spin. Well, not exactly synchronized, but unfortunate for
like it was a few seconds between the two.
Yeah,
like after Leclerc had his spin, I then spotted Alfie spun as well shortly after.
BMH coming back into P2, Leclerc now going into the pits, Bounty Hunt going into the pits, and so is Alfie. I believe Leclerc might have had a bit of contact, which is why he spun. There was close fighting. Now as Atom and BMH go side by side, and Atom ends up coming out in front. So of course now being a Mercedes 1-2, they will probably be working together. Atom on the hard tyre now might have the edge on those mediums, so he will want to retake that net P1. But of course, will that alternate strategy work for him, or will he just get undercut and not be able to finish as high as he would? Will he be able to get a podium at all? With these alternate strategies, it's always hard to tell, so will be interesting.
If you're wondering why I'm not speaking when those two aren't, I'm currently playing Rocket League.
Oh, by the way, can you update us on the radio?
Supra goes into P4 actually, fighting with Wards. That is now pretty bad for Wards, being a time trial merchant. Of course, doesn't have that race pace. as BMH in front of him is flashing, and so is Atom, so they have used up quite a bit of their ERS. Let's take a look at their ERS levels now, actually, if you give me a moment. So Atom is almost out of ERS on 8%. Yori in front, incredible, he's on 60% ERS, so clearly doing very well. BMH on 10%, Atom now on 13%, and Supra behind him on 24%. So it looks like Yori has a very good chance of doing quite well. Being in P1, net P1 even now, of course, and having so much ERS, clearly just having good pace, and definitely picked the right setup now, and not on an alternate strategy, so it looks like he might take the race win today. What do you think, Lewis?
I think, personally... Can you repeat what you said?
Yeah, so of course, Yori having, like, 50 or 60% more ERS than the people behind him, being in P1 now, he's on the regular strategy, insanely high ERS levels. So, do you think he will be able to take the race win today?
I think most likely,
as we see
if
a
he
caution
can keep...
actually, and that's Zdanuk, who's been ghosted. I believe he just went off. That is P10 for him now. As BMH and Atom are now fighting, BMH coming out in front, but BMH, I don't believe that Aston Martin will be able to hold that position for that long, with Atom on the hard tyre behind, showing his pace. As now actually BMH comes into the pits, so him getting ahead of Atom could have just been a way to slow him down. So he manages to come out in front later. We will see as Supra is now in P3. Looking like he might be able to get a podium place. Sorry for cutting you off there, but that was quite a bit.
Yeah, that's understandable.
So, do you think Yuri will be able to win the race now, almost breaking the DRS to Atom when Atom's tyres now have the edge?
As long as Yuri can keep the ERS up and only use it for defense, I think Yuri is going to win this race.
Yeah, that is possible, but we will have to see whether Atom's alternate strategy, whether he will be able to make up those positions later on. As now, Yuri has broken the DRS to Atom, so Atom will no longer have the DRS. Which means it is looking very good for Yuri as long as he can extend that gap, pit, and then he definitely will come out in front. Unless Atom's alternate strategy works well, or if there's a safety car, which will definitely change the grid up quite a bit.
Yeah.
As Ward's on his fresh hard tyres goes up into P5. So, what are your predictions for the podium today?
I'm going to say Yuri P1, Ward's P2, Supra P3.
Ward's P2, interesting. To be fair, he is on the hard tyre now. As Atom! Actually, Yuri's come into the pits now, so that makes sense. Atom's fighting for Supra not to have that DRS. He's fighting as hard as he can, but it looks like Supra has a bit of a higher straight line speed setup. BMH, sorry, going into P6. Lucas going into P3 after Yuri comes into the pit. So we are seeing quite a lot of drivers pit, and it would be very unfortunate for them if a safety car were to come. His BP in the room says a fastest lap, but we now see a caution. Not sure who that was caused by. No one lost any positions, so I suppose it wasn't that big of a deal. A BP in the room, was that just set the fastest lap?
Yeah, it's BP in the room, the Red Bull.
Yeah, so on his fresh medium tyres. So of course, maybe he will be able to catch up, being in now P9, when quite a few of the drivers in front of him have not pitted, about half. It's looking like he could get a good amount of points today. Marcel in the Aston Martin, he's usually getting very close to the front of the grid. Shanghai clearly not being a very good track for him.
Yeah, not his greatest start to the season, considering he ended the previous season on a really good high, being the World Championship winner.
Did he win the championship?
Yeah, it was Marcel.
Oh, that's interesting. So, a start like this...
That is why Rico left the series.
I see. So, a start like this, it's pretty unfortunate for Marcel. As we see.
Oh, we have an out, and it's the safety
it's the
car. The
That-
curse everyone who pitted did not want to happen has happened. The safety car is out on track.
So that
Supra's gonna pit.
Bounty Hunt has gotten a drive-through penalty for speeding on the safety car. So this is very good for Atom. He will probably pit now. And so it is looking like he might take the race win in the end. So that is great.
As long as he can keep it up, that is. As long as he can keep it.
Ward's definitely not very happy on those pretty fresh hard tyres. But maybe he will not be pitting again. He could actually be a contender for the race win today. Supra going on the soft tyre.
Another drive-through penalty.
Yeah, Supra on that soft tyre definitely will be hard to keep up for the amount of laps he's about to be racing. But if Atom pits now, Ward's on those fresh hard tyres will be able to hold him to the end. He will have slightly slower tyres near the end. But it does look like he could have a shot at winning this race. It does look like he might have a shot at winning this race after all.
Yeah. It is basically a game of luck.
Yeah, Super in P3 on the soft tyre, which, yeah, I've already said this will be difficult to keep up. But if he manages, if he's good at tyre conservation,
by now there must be a bunch of rubber on track.
Yeah, that is true. Super, however, he's a quite midfield driver, I believe. But he has been at the front quite a few times. So
yeah, I think he was the World Driver Champion of Season 1.
Yeah, so being quite a high midfield driver, maybe he can keep it up as long as he can defend in the final few laps. Atom being going into the pits now, he will come out ahead of Wards maybe. This will be very close. He manages to come out in front of Wards on the fresh medium tyres.
Just barely though, by inches. If his car would have been any faster, that could have been his position.
Yeah, that will be so unfortunate for Wards because he was 18 seconds behind when the usual pit lane time loss here is 17.23 seconds. There's a bit of data for you there. So statistically Atom would come out in front, but of course with the speed you come into the pits and everything, it can vary. So Atom is very lucky to have came out in front. It will definitely be a very difficult fight for P1. It's looking like Supra might take the lead for a few laps, but he might get overtaken later by Atom and Wards, and probably will, considering that soft tyre will be very weak after what is going to be about 11 laps of racing. So Atom on the medium tyre, they're fresh, he's heating them up now. Wards on 4-lap-old hards. It's not looking like Wards will have the edge on Atom even when Atom's mediums die out, because of the age of Wards laps, the age of Wards tyres, sorry. So Atom might take the race win after all, and Wards might stay in his starting position, P2, unless there's a fight with Supra near the end. Or near the start really, and Supra can make a big enough gap. But it depends. So considering this change now, what are your predictions for the podium?
I'm going to say Atom leads, as safety car's going to come in this lap. We're going to get racing once more here at Shanghai.
Yeah, as we go green, and no overtaking until the checkered flag. Atom will be the lead for the restart, heating up those tyres, and Ward's doing a little Kimi Raikkonen, just driving in a straight line, not looking to care. But Atom now,
he's essentially the closest thing to an Iceman as we get racing once more here at Shanghai. Atom's going to lead away. Ward's not even close to him. And Supra trying to get ahead of the Ferrari. BMH is in P2. What is going on?
Ward's get
Supra's going to get ahead. BMH P3.
that is unfortunate. Wood has came down. I believe he spun and went to the very back of the grid. Atom now leads BMH in P2, basically in the same position.
Marcus
Wood
losing
was in.
so many positions now.
Supra also losing it. He is probably going to retire now. Pray not to be on the track because the safety car will come out. So now we see...
I think it might be a mechanical failure, if that's even possible.
Oh, so let's hope a safety car doesn't come out because of that. Again, as he retires on the track. And will we see a safety car? No, we don't. So that is fantastic. They can keep racing as Yori goes up into P2 after being side by side with BMH. But he just can't keep it. BMH holding the inside. However, they are extremely close and it depends on the setup plus the slipstream. Can Yori get ahead? Yes, he can, but it will be a matter of braking now. But yeah, it looks like Yori is going to be ahead.
And a matter of braking executed perfectly as well.
Yeah, Leclerc now in P6 after his unfortunate loss. Is Alfie? Actually, that is not Alfie. Actually, yes, it is Alfie. He goes off. Unfortunate for him, that is his second spin. We are seeing quite a lot of drivers struggling now. Atom with a comfortable 3-second lead on the fresh mediums. So it is looking like he will take the race win home if he is consistent. Giving off quite a Rico Van Basten type vibe at the moment.
Yeah. Rico was one of the drivers to absolutely change and dominate the sport. And has just ended up making Tier 1 even more competitive than last season.
Yeah, so now as we see Yori has went up into P2, but of course BMH being on those hard tyres, it is not looking like he will get ahead as you can see Yori's pace just by how big of a gap he's making already, being extremely close to breaking the DRS. As we have now 6 DNFs. Is that Leclerc that goes off? No, it's not. That was just a position loss. Unfortunate for him. He was just in P6.
There are so many DNFs during this Grand Prix. The starting DNFs, Vettel was stationary. I had to leave the race, obviously, because, you know, I'm a commentator, not a driver. Oh, BP in the room hits the Has in the back, but it's ghosted. Never mind. DRS now getting enabled.
Yeah, but as we have bounty. Oh, that's into the pits. My bad.
Yes. Yeah, that's understandable. I would have done this same thing.
Yeah. So now, unfortunate for BMH, there is no DRS to Yori, being on those harder compound tires and behind older and harder compound tires. He is now 1.5 seconds behind. He will not have the DRS and he will most likely not get ahead. BP in the room 4 seconds behind him, being a lot of fighting there actually.
Oh my god! Lucas just got dive bombed by a Has and a Ferrari at the same time!
That is incredible. I personally believe we have our finishing podium already. I predict that it will
we
be
have quite a few laps left to go. We have 9 laps of racing.
That is true, but of course all these drivers being on their final stint unless a safety car is to come out again, and with this racing you never know anymore. There's caution in sector 2.
For, you know, a car could literally just go off track and hit the barriers like Charles Leclerc and SQ. Which SQ was it?
2.
SQ2, I think it was.
Oh, might have been, no, it was 3. But of course, you know, or on a formation lap, but you know. Oh, as the McLaren and Ferrari have contact, it's Lucas and Leclerc.
Ferrari starting off great for this Grand Prix, but then fall from grace.
I am so glad I got that.
I'm so glad I saw that!
Woods is now in front of Leclerc. So, Leclerc, who was in P6 earlier, he now loses that and he is in P10. Of course, see a lot of fighting at the hairpin.
This has not been the Grand Prix for them.
Yeah, that is true. But it is looking
Like,
like
they had a good start. They were kind of leading the race for a bit, but then they just started falling away really quickly.
Yeah, it is looking for 3 points for the Ferraris today, but of course, you never know. Anything can change. We still have 8 laps left of the race, and the grid is still quite tightly packed. The front not so much, of course, being within seconds. But Marcel, he looks like he's chasing Ian Morris for that position. Alfie and Zdenek in the back having their little own fights after both having spins and not having the best race. Little backmarker fight, little,
Yeah,
Alpine
just
representative.
let them fight. Let them have a bit of fun.
Yeah, I feel like if anything, they're the Alpine representatives for F1 esports. Yeah, but
So they're having a quite little competitive fight over there.
So the midfield is quite tightly packed at the moment. Leclerc also has a time penalty, but with Bounty Hunt 11 seconds behind it, does not look like that will matter. Unless, of course, he has another shunt with someone. Yin Marais is actually getting quite close to BP in the room in the Red Bull, who is currently in P4. So quite a good race for him. But
yeah, Yin has the ERS advantage, 44% versus BP's 0%.
Incredible, yeah, I was about to point out he is flashing, so he's going to lose quite a bit of performance. But now, yeah, that, if Yin manages to use that ERS wisely, then it is looking like he might get into P4.
Marcel, by the way, I wanted to know earlier in the race he was struggling, but now he's pulling positions really well, and he's now up into P6.
Oh, is there having a little drag race? Oh.
Ooh, off into the gravel they go.
Yeah, that was on purpose. Alfie just completely pushed him off the track. They were having a little drag race and went straight into him. Let's hope that does not cause a safety car. Their little shenanigans at the back.
I'm sure they'll be fine as long as they don't accidentally run into a wall.
Yeah, that is true, of course. Marcel going into P5. He has the inside line. Does he keep it? No, he doesn't. Now Ian Marais has the inside line. Or as they have a bit of contact, Marcel goes
He's
off.
forced off track. That's 2 positions lost for Yin, but he's going to gain 1 back because Sosteku has no DRS.
Oh, that is incredible. Now Marcel into P5. Was gonna say he won the championship last time, so he's being pretty slow today. But it does look
he's
like
being chill.
He is back at the front. Well, not at the front, of course, but in P5, so the close front, so to speak. So Deku.
Yeah, Adam is actually holding a pretty good lead, and I think it might be a certain P1.
Yeah.
However, you never know. BMH could lose the car.
Anything could happen if there's a safety car. I honestly don't think anyone will go in anyway, though, because, you barely have any laps left. You won't really make anything up. Unless some people want to risk that, but I doubt, especially with the current gaps, Yuri having a 3-second gap to Atom, and that is staying pretty consistent.
Yeah, plus if you're behind the drivers of
Because we have a
Leclerc
caution.
or Zendenek, you're probably going to get ahead if you stay close to them.
Yeah, we just had a caution. Wonder what that was caused by. As Marcel actually goes side by side with BP in the room, he has the inside line. They go
into the hairpin, though. But that was one competitive fight.
But BP in the room comes out in front because, of course, for the final turn he has to back out. But now Marcel, maybe that was
Yin is gonna virtual safety car. The move can't be done, and it's a full safety. The move was not done, and it failed. We're trying to go to sleep.
Yeah,
huh?
so
We're trying to go to sleep. Okay, sorry.
Wonderful. So now we see Yinma is out. It is a full safety car. I didn't quite catch what happened there, but Marcel.
Yeah, so Yin was pushing, and I think he lost the car.
That is very unfortunate. Well, do you think we're going to see any strategy changes? Personally, I don't think so.
If anyone was idiotic enough to pit now, they're probably not going to be in this race for much longer.
Bounty's, Danik, and Alfie pit, but of course they are at the back, so it's not going to make big changes to their race.
Not as much as the people in the front runners.
However, Bounty was pretty right to pit because onto the soft tyre now, because he is at least chasing down that 1 point. But we will only see about, I believe, 4 laps of racing action. Maybe 3. No, 4. Yeah, so we'll see about 4 laps of racing action after this. Is Danik, of course, and he's just doing his own thing at the back.
Yeah. In fact, all 3 of the cars in the back have gone for a soft tyre.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they'll make up much, especially with Bounty being 43 seconds behind the walls. But for Bounty, it's probably just about keeping that 1 point. As actually, the front runners come into the pits. Atom coming into the pits. Yuri. Everyone else.
Who's gonna pit? Oh my god! What?
That is incredible. So we will basically see a full restart.
Les flics au chocolat!
No one will.
Oh no! Oh, that's the worst thing that can happen to you during a pit stop. Getting boxed in by someone else's double stack.
Oh, that is incredible. Not very.
The grid isn't exactly the same as we started with.
Yeah, as I was gonna say, there will be no position changes from coming into the pits, considering how far back the P10 is and how everyone came into the pits. So we will now see about 4 laps of racing action from
Here in Shanghai.
Yeah, from drivers all on soft tyres. So
What are your thoughts on the current podium as it stands?
You know what? BP in the room, quite an incredible driver, and Marcel behind them. I think at least one of them will be able to knock down Yuri or BMH. But I do think Atom will be able to stay in the front, because the only reason, I believe, in my opinion, the only reason he was losing positions at the actual start of the race was because of his hard tyres. I think Atom can hold the race lead, especially with his pace, how fast he is, and Wards isn't behind to fight him. And these drivers...
I'm still confused though. Why did everyone choose to go on softs when there's barely any racing left to go?
I mean, you never know. We'll probably find out in the post-race interviews. So
Yeah, true. They can give quite a lot of insight into the race.
Yeah, of course, we're not drivers, not entirely, so we don't know very well, but that is their choice. But, you know, we are not coming in this lap, I believe, so we will be coming in the next lap. Yeah, we won't be coming in this lap, because the message hasn't shown yet. So, we will only see about 3 laps of racing action. Yeah.
Unless this game decides to go safety cars to the end, which would be stupid.
I don't think that would happen. It's usually the 1 lap and then 1 full lap after that. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is pretty incredible. So now the grid is so tightly packed. Other than Stanek and Alfie, who you can see on the track map are miles behind. But they might be catching up, and they might be fucking hell. They might be able to make up some positions for the restart. Maybe not. I mean,
who knows?
They are talented drivers, and Wards as well might be looking for some more points after his unfortunate incident. But we have 7 drivers who have not raced today. Vettel, I believe, started the first safety car because he was parked collision, something like that. He got disqualified. He was in the middle of the track. Mare went off. He crashed, and So did, I think, I don't know who else, but of course we saw DNFs. The safety car is coming in this lap.
We're gonna get it in. We're gonna get racing once more here at Shanghai.
Yeah, as now the whole pack has bunched up, so the back markers might look to make up some positions. And I am cheering for
One
Lords.
can only see what's gonna happen soon. I think the chaos is gonna be absolute maniac.
Yeah, it is going to be quite interesting now. We are seeing a lap 2 situation again, but now of course it will be with only a few laps left in the race. So if you mess up
All
now,
comes together now. Mind, machine, and man.
that is true, and if you mess up now, you mess up your whole race. So let's hope no one screws up and don't let it go to nothing.
BMH almost screwed up and let BP pass during the end of the safety car, which is a bit stupid.
We will see one lap of DRS to the end of this race.
Yeah.
But
here we go.
we have contact. Before the restart, someone's lost their front wing. As we now restart.
Lovely. Just great. Hey, BP forced to stay behind. He has a bit too much tilt into the corner. BMH might lose this position. Who knows? As they were going pretty close, but BP's starting to lose position. Is he going to gain it back, though? That is the question. Hold on. Marcel's coming in for the fight, but BP's going to keep it. Oh! Off track goes Marcel. Ward's retiring from the session. Oh, that's gotta feel bad for him, man.
Yeah, Ward's becoming our 8th DNF now. That is extremely unfortunate. His race was looking good from the start, but of course, didn't end up being that way. Atom has managed to hold his P1, Yori has managed to hold his P2, and BMH is still in P3. BP in the room still behind, and the front 5 are the same as it was during the restart. So we'll see one lap of DRS, I believe, only. So that will be a chance for Yori to get Atom, or BMH to even get himself some extra points on the board for the opening race, because I do not believe DRS restarts now. As
Fastest lap to Adam!
Yeah, on that soft tyre. Incredibly quick, every sector purple. So yeah, DRS will be on for the final lap. So if Yori makes up that position, as Zdenek retires in the pit lane, and so Atom now. So
if you're still in this race, you're guaranteed to at least receive points.
If Atom gets overtaken by Yori with the DRS on the final lap, then there are almost no hopes of him getting it back.
It's like we're in qualifying with only 10 people left on the grid.
Yeah. So, the grid all being so close. BP in the room in P4, much better position than he had previously. So, good for him for sticking around. Leclerc back in P6, and you can't not score points if you're driving now, as we are on the mid. As we're on the stripe, we're not seeing any overtakes at the moment. Sorry.
Marcel actually is about to overtake if he can keep it into this corner. He's going to force the Red Bull wide. The Red Bull now stuck behind. Is he going to get DRS into? No, he's not. He's not going to get DRS.
Because DRS was not enabled, as it is enabled now for the final lap of the race. Yori, however, is not in DRS range. So, because Atom's pace is just incredible on that soft tyre. So it's now looking like a fight for P2 between Yori and BMH. And Yori, he's flashing. And so is BMH, actually. So they're using up so much ERS to stay out the front. Marcel behind might be looking for that podium. If you
Maybe it is up to the luck of the draw.
Yeah, that is true. However, Marcel has much more ERS than the drivers in front of him. So it looks like he might be able to get a podium today, as we are about to go onto the straight through the hairpin now.
There's so much amounting for this last bit of the race. This last bit of the Grand Prix, as it keeps going on no one knows how it's going to turn out. Oh, however, I think it's gonna be Marcel. No, hold on. No, Marcel does not overtake BMH.
Yeah,
They were just having a little drag race.
Yeah, so as we are about to go onto the start-finish straight, we're now on the start-finish straight, as Atom takes the lead of the race, and he wins in Shanghai. We have Yori coming P2, BMH P3, Marcel P4, BP in the room in P5, Leclerc just behind him in P6, Lucas in the McLaren, new addition, P7, Alfie in P8, better position than it was looking for him earlier, Deku in P9, and whoever the last driver was in P10, which was...
and there it is, 20 late laps of action, now officially over. Driver of the day to Sus Deku, the Red Bull Reserve.
So that is incredible. That was a great race from, well, most drivers, other than the 10 who DNF'd.
Yeah, to
be
either
fair,
skill or any other variable.
Yeah, as we see on the podium now, Atom, Austrian. I unfortunately don't have the national anthem right now, but I will get it. I'm pretty sure that's Netherlands, but you do.
No, Netherlands is whatever.
Alright, so we have Atom in P1 with the fastest lap, Yori right behind him in P2. Very good race from him, actually. BMH in P3 in the Aston Martin, and Marcel in P4 to make it a 3-4 for Aston Martin. BP in the room in P5, having lost that position to Marcel, actually, in the final few corners. Leclerc in P6, Lucas P7, Alfie in P8, Deku in P9, and Bounty Hunt in the Haas in P10. So
there it is. That is the Grand Prix over. Well, how do you feel about that race?
That was just an incredible race, to be fair, and it is great to see. And there were incredible battles, and it was very interesting to see that contact, someone losing their front wing at the start of the race. Sorry, not at the start of the race, during the last restart. So that was just great. But of course, Atom starting in pole position won the race, so that's just great. What are your thoughts?
Honestly, that was one hell of a Grand Prix. I've never seen so many DNFs. I've never seen so much close driving before. It looks amazing.
Yeah, that is true. It does. Atom calling out Yori for dirty into braking zones. Or maybe that wasn't Yori, but some people were dirty. Let's see if anyone is up for interviews. Because it would be great to hear from the drivers.
Yeah, I don't have access to typing in tier 1 announcements anymore because my head admin got removed. Thanks, Mar. You're just the greatest.
We're going to see Yori for interviews and awards. So let me just... Yeah, Atom wasn't calling Yori dirty, that was my mistake.
Yeah, anyways, let's move into post-race interviews. Yeah.
Hello.
Give it a few minutes. minutes before we get started with the interviews.
Quite a
We just
few
want-
drivers we have today.
That was a good one. That was a good race.
Yeah, alright.
Yeah. To be
That was good.
So we will start in a moment. We have quite a few drivers now, so we could start now.
Yeah, fair enough. All right.
So
Who do you want to start with?
let's hear from Atom first. The race winner, he started on pole position, won the race. So let's have a word from him. So how did the race go for you?
Yeah, I mean, wasn't very straightforward because the hards were pretty shocking. So yeah, then I got rear-ended into turn one as well, which dropped me from first to fourth, which wasn't ideal. So just waited because the battles were only a risk really. Should just waited until the mediums dropped off. Tried to attack again, but yeah, I said the hards were not great. They pitted quite early, so there was no chance they would get the hards to the end when they undercut, though. I knew that. So I was going to go longer to have the tire advantage. And yeah, the safety car helped, of course, the first one. But I think it evened it out because the second one screwed me kind of. But yeah, pace was enough, luckily. And yeah, happy to help the Mercedes team to score some points.
Pass it
Yeah,
on to Lewis now.
you did lose first position quite a few times. How much of it was skill versus people just using DRS?
I mean, to be honest, I don't care about P1 until the last lap. So
That's fair.
I mean, it's really, if you're second going into the last lap, you usually have the advantage. That's why I tried to break the gap to Yuri, even though I said before the race, let's try to work together. But yeah, he got second still, so I guess everything was fine in the end.
Yeah. You did set the fastest lap, but then someone else took it from. No, you did set the fastest lap of the session. Okay, yeah, thank you. Sorry. Oh yeah, but we have so many people today.
Yeah, very many
Yeah,
drivers for
yeah.
interviews, so that's great.
Yeah, for real.
This doesn't usually happen.
12 people in the VC, bro.
Really.
Let's hear from Ben. How did you think your
Sorry?
race went?
I think it went all right. I guess. I mean, I was leading a few times, and there was a good fight between Yuri and Atom. The same. I don't know. Yuri. You have a Mercedes basically, and then
Yeah.
obviously Ward got very unlucky. This race, he could have probably won the race today, but then obviously his DNF happened, and a good recovery from Marcel, who was like near the back and came home P4, I think. So good points for Aston Martin and for my debut for the team, and I hope we get strong points for the upcoming races.
I was just about to ask about that. How does it feel to drive for the team in green instead of the team in orange?
I mean, it'll take a bit of a while to get used to driving the Aston Martin a bit, but yeah, I think personally, I thought the decision was a good decision because I'm teammates with someone that's like similar to my pace. I know Marcel quite a bit, so yeah. I was with Go Jets as a driver and team principal thing in a previous league. So yeah, I thought Aston Martin was a good choice.
That makes sense. Thank you, Ben.
All right.
Let's hear from Ward next. He had a very unfortunate race. Looking
Oh,
like
no.
he was
Yep.
going to win the
Yeah.
race, but of course ended up DNFing. So Ward,
mean-
tell me about your race.
I mean, first, my TV decided to glitch, losing me like 2 seconds. And then I somehow caught back up, and then on lap 11, I decided to pit.
Hell.
I decided
Yeah.
to pit.
I was
He-
very confused.
I was in a call with G1, and he was like, "No, don't pit." And then on lap 13, I was thinking to myself, "Oh my god, I've done the best strategy ever. I can actually win this race." But then lap 14 happened, and there was a safety car, and yeah, that just changed the outcome of the race. Marcus was on soft. I was baffled. I was like, why is he on soft? Why did he go on soft? And then on the safety car restart, Atom was weaving very dangerously, which caught me off guard. Hence why Ben was so close to Super, and Super was pretty close to me.
I hit him a few times.
And then Yuri hit me on that 16, making me do 360. And then on the final safety car restart, I got caught up in all that mess. I got front wing damage, but like it was nothing serious at the time.
Yeah, you got taken out in front of me.
Yeah, and then I was side by side with Logan in sector 1, and then I gave him a little tap, and then I went into the wall, lost my whole front wing. I lost my whole wing, and then I was like, "Yeah, I can't be asked doing this anymore."
Yeah,
So I just retired from the session.
that is understandable. Are we going to see any stewards reports from you, Wards?
I mean, I don't have any clips, but I can probably get one from the Atom and safety car restart.
I have a clip of Matt impeding me in qualifying. He cost me 2/10.
Speaking of qualifying, I actually bottled a lap that would have been enough for pole.
I bowled a 30. I bottled a 30.5.
Yeah, I could have easily done a 0.5.
Yeah, and fucking
I had
Matt.
I was
out
gonna
bowled-
say-
the
30.1
Delta
therefore.
time, but I bottled it in sector 3.
Yeah, well, luckily enough, Mara did not even survive the first lap of the Grand
Luckily
Prix, so
Thankfully.
To be fair, I'm
Thankfully.
not
bowled
surprised.
impeded me.
I'm honestly not surprised.
He says it wasn't his fault, but it's never his fault, is it?
Yeah, he's the fucking owner. Yeah, that's why he's.
Yeah,
It's not his
he
fault.
impeded it like me and Ben, and it was just.
No offense,
Yeah.
Mara, if you're listening.
Oh,
That's
away
just
with
for video, innit?
Mate,
Matt was the worst TP I've ever had to
I
deal
was
with.
going into this race thinking,
Put that in a cookbook.
Latifi's not going to do any of the most of the races this season, and some tracks I can beat Ben on pure pace. I can actually win the championship. No,
To be fair, Wards, I think you
No.
can.
no.
Anyone
if you
can.
weren't
No,
a time
I
trial
don't
merchant.
wanna
I
say
mean,
it,
to be fair, I'm going to be fair with you, Wards. You've
but
been
I don't
able.
I don't even want to think about the championship now.
I just
No.
want to focus on the races.
And just transfer your time trial into race base, mate, and then you'll be great.
That's pretty hard, mate.
It's not
Oh,
hard.
his pace has improved. Like he's way faster.
He
be
has,
fair.
he has, hasn't it? I've said this.
Yeah.
Wards' race pace has massively improved. I've noticed that he's starting to fight for more wins, potentially championships in the future, and he's only got
Yeah,
like what?
exactly.
He's
Yeah.
got like 4 years to make it to esports, so he's chilling.
I thought so.
Also-
Like, you can't call him a time trial merchant anymore,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You could just call him a pole merchant now.
to be fair.
Also,
Didn't get polled today,
Call him a pole.
unfortunate. Good for
He
Atom.
could have. I saw the potential in him to make pole and win the race, but he just missed out ever so slightly.
You had a snap, that's
I
why
went
you bottled
fastest
your
for a
lap, wasn't
bit,
it?
and that shocked me.
Alright, Lewis, it's your go to ask questions.
Okay, I don't actually have any questions for Wards, so
That's understandable. Anyone want to add anything about today?
Mayor is a fucking
Shocking,
dickhead
yeah.
and should die.
Me, there's me.
And it's the
we all
worst
agree
team
with that.
principal I've ever dealt with in my fucking life.
I'm gonna quote you in a quote book.
Okay.
Alright, so if that is everything,
I'd probably say something with words. I can't say it was my fault because let me send you a clip. On my screen, words was ghosted the whole time.
Yeah, is it just me? Wards' Wi-Fi was so bad.
it wasn't
Yeah,
as
that
bad
was
as it was in
ghosted
Qatar
by
last
screen.
season.
Ah, That's why I was
I-
staying so behind him.
look-
Because
No, you remember
Look
Qatar
at
last season?
main chat. Look at main chat. Like he was ghosted for me. I didn't expect like he would
I
spin.
mean, I don't think I'll elaborate further on the Yuri incident because, like, yeah, I'll DNF
To be fair.
to a totally different
He was
incident.
ghosted
Imagine not
for
going
me.
from
Like,
P15 to P8.
So
as you can see,
thing.
I got past him, and then obviously I was side by side with Marcus.
it was pretty. It was a pretty fun race though. Like
Like, yeah, yeah.
the first laps were great. We had like 4
Yeah,
laps
like
for
the first
Yeah.
laps had so much action.
Yeah.
And people,
Yeah.
honest,
I was skipping through the front of the grid to the back of the grid every
Also-
2 seconds.
I was like, lap 11, I was like, I don't want to get held up by these guys. I've got to pit.
No,
He won.
you undercut me.
he
You
won
undercut
your-
me, you cheeky
your-
bastard.
at the back.
Don't cheat.
I mean, to be
Who are
fair, the undercut is like the strategy if you want to overtake, but you can't do it.
Okay,
Yeah,
Will
but why-
Buxton.
But when we're talking about it, when like I'm at the back, it's not going to work for me because like I'm at the back and then I just drop off loads and then I don't pick that time back up.
Yeah, what the hell happened? What the hell happened for your DNF?
I didn't DNF.
I thought I saw you DNF.
Alfie?
but-
No, he didn't.
No, that was Dom.
Ah,
Also,
Oh my
am I correct
Yeah,
to say?
I got absolutely killed.
Alfie,
was
am
the
I correct?
first safety car. Don't ruin my chances of the win.
Me?
Sorry, Ward, but I
Hey.
was anally sexually assaulted. So
Why
honestly, like it.
Alfie,
my
Well,
God, can we
first
talk about
of all,
Williams?
some Williams decided to spin in front of me. I don't know how you lose it there because you're full
spun in
throttle
front
by
of
that
me.
point. So then he spins. He doesn't ghost. I hit him, lose my front wing. All right, fine. Still in this. I box
Not
for a new
the
front
FD
wing.
restart.
I'm all the way like 20 seconds back, and then like 5 laps later, I lose grip and I'm dead. Sorry about the safety car, lads. But honestly, I'm not in the mood. I'm tired. I want to go bed.
Same.
Yeah,
It's
I got
Friday.
fucking
I just want to go
nails
bed.
twice.
Hey, how do you think I feel? I've had exams all week.
I've got to focus on FL now.
Alfie, am I correct to say that you and Zdenek were slowing down at the back and having your own little drag races? Because that's what it looked like.
Yeah, we were sort of just. I decided to slow down.
Yeah,
'cause,
Alfie told me in the VC I'm going to race as Williams because I feel like it down the straight.
Yeah, I don't know. I was already like 15 seconds off the next car, so I decided, I may as well have a battle, and it went on for like 6 laps, and then a safety car came out, and he overtook me on the safety car.
that
You got away with it.
sucks.
So not a very great race for everyone. Had a lot of DNS, but it's China to be fair.
Yeah,
so
I mean, I
what
got
can you do?
Yeah,
P8 in the
it's
end, but
How many people finished?
10.
10.
Oh. So it's guaranteed points.
it's
if I
not a
finish.
bad DNF rate. You should see my league. We have 20 racing and 8 finishing. It's
Oh,
Jesus
in my
Christ.
league, I had 5. I had 5 finishing.
Should have
Mancini.
seen Dom's league on Tuesday. Had like 5
None.
finishes.
5 finishes, and I won, bro.
Oh my
not
God.
100% weak race though. Like that ERL,
If,
that was
if
chaos.
TSRL was 100%, I don't think anyone would make it to the end.
no.
I wouldn't even be bothered racing. I'd just
What's happened?
retire at that
What's
point.
happened? Someone said no.
Yeah, someone said about I was on about the 100% weak race.
Is anyone
it's
sending
bad.
any stewards inquiries? Anyone pissed about anyone?
Oh well,
I've
I've sent the Williams killing me in, so
Which Williams?
feel free
was
to
it
check that
then?
out.
If someone reported
Ben, look
great,
here one,
so I can get a win.
look here one
Well,
chat.
thank you
Can I
guys
just
for
say
that.
no? That
What happened?
Lucas
What
is
happened? I'm
quick
looking at tier
season.
1 chat.
Listen
Yeah,
to one shot.
Lucas is rapid.
What's this?
What's going on?
Alright,
why
well,
we-
for the stream, I think that will be it. So,
Thank you all for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. And
Mary
remember,
shit.
don't
Bye-bye.
snap into
Yeah,
a corner.
Mary's rubbish.
Mary's shit.
yeah.
Mary's rubbish.
See you next time.